Oh, a snood is my preferred.
A snooty?
Yeah.
But you don't wear a snooty coming into work, do you?
I do, yeah.
You do not, do you?
Well, what's a snood? That's the thing that goes
Oh,
around your
that's
neck.
go around your neck?
Yeah.
But what
Not a
about your head?
balaclava.
Get cold? No?
Well conditioned now at this
Well
stage.
conditioned. Do you moisturise it before you come in?
Are you going to start talking about people's appearances?
Not
again,
at all,
Lynn?
but you always bring it up.
I never bring it up.
No, I said about a hat because it's cold.
Yes,
Keep
of course
keep
it is
your
cold.
ears
Yeah.
warm.
Do a
It is.
moisture? Yeah, you asking do I moisturise
No,
my
you
head?
tell me
Yes,
you
I
do that night and day.
I do
See,
moisturise
now
my
you're
head, yeah.
just telling us the crack again. What's the roads like for you this morning?
Oh
Did you go through Loch Salt as well?
no, I'm not.
No. Nobody would do that, would they?
Someone will.
Yeah.
Someone will, but not I.
Yes.
I took the long way round.
Yeah, well, sure you're better.
But the
Sure
roads are great when they're treated, but the parts that aren't treated, there's a lot of black ice out there.
Yeah.
You know, I knew as soon as I went out this morning, there's black ice. And it's you can't trust it. You
No,
know,
but I suppose
snow you can kind of trust.
you can see it.
Dry frost,
Yeah.
you can kind of trust it. The black ice is
And then it's like
devious.
if there's windy roads then and they're in the shadow and that the sun hasn't got them, you can be caught out too.
later in the day.
So you
as
just
well.
have to just keep your
What's
upbeat.
the roads like when you come up? You come up the crack of dawn, don't you?
I do. Well, the van's great and the frost and stuff and the snow. That's the beauty of driving the dodgy van that I have.
You can listen to the final debate later.
I stayed up last night to 10:30 and
No,
watched it on TV.
I'm not on about that debate. I'm on about the proper debates.
Is it
on
all
Highland
going to
Radio.
happen today?
Yeah, it's the last
What's it
one.
been had the last 3 days? Well, we'll have it on.
Thanks very much, Leo. I appreciate your support. I really do.
I'm behind you all the way, Greg.
Thank you
got
so
my number
much
one
indeed.
vote.
Just don't get too close.
All
Take
right.
care of
Good
yourself, all right? Thank you very much indeed, all right? It is the 9 till noon show. I'll tell you all what's coming up over the next wee while, but first, at 9 o'clock, let's get a news update, and it's over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Residents, farms and businesses in Buncrana have expressed their anger after losing their water supply at 4 p.m. yesterday. Works are due to be completed by 1 p.m. today to see the supply restored. It follows a major burst leading to calls for investment to the water infrastructure in South Inishowen. Cahirlook of the Inishowen MD, Councillor Jack Murray, says teams are working to get the problem fixed and appreciates the frustration in the community.
Great frustration, great anger. Look, there's children getting ready for school this morning. There's sick people, elderly people that can't access water. They weren't expecting this, and it's most of a day now they're going to be without water. So people are saying we want this water infrastructure upgraded. We need the investment so that this doesn't happen. Other areas aren't enduring this level of water outages so frequently. So people want to see investments to make sure that this doesn't happen again. But I know the council staff are working on it now, and hopefully it'll be restored ASAP.
The Cabinet will today be asked to approve the opening of an emergency humanitarian aid scheme for those affected by Storm Bert. It's aimed at small businesses, community, voluntary and sporting bodies damaged by floods during the extreme weather which hit Donegal, Cork, Galway and Kerry last weekend. Kelly Beggs was left partially submerged. Once the scheme is approved, affected groups can apply for relief through the Irish Red Cross website. No political party has a comprehensive plan to prepare Ireland to meet the needs of its ageing population. That's according to Age Action, which says all of the manifestos reflect a lack of urgency in dealing with problems that are coming down the line. The group wants to see a commitment to benchmark state pensions so its rate is at least equal to 34% of total average earnings. Age Action's Nat O'Connor says they've been waiting for action on this for decades.
We haven't seen a promise across the parties to ensure that the state pension will keep up with the cost of living and in particular will keep up with average earnings in the economy, which is what has been promised since the 1990s. So we do need to see more urgency about the issue of meeting the needs of older people.
Israeli troops will gradually start withdrawing from Lebanon as part of a ceasefire deal agreed last night. Israel and Hezbollah have approved a truce which will see fighting temporarily stopped. The deal was brokered by the US, who say the militant group's infrastructure will not be allowed to be rebuilt. And to weather now, a cold and frosty start today with fog in some areas. Sunny spells will develop during the day, but the fog may be stubborn to clear in some parts. Highs of just 3 to 7 degrees, but colder where any fog may linger. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. Back again at 10 o'clock.
Christmas is better with Disney Plus, with festive favourites like Home Alone, Frozen,
Wait.
Deadpool,
Hi, Peanut. Let's give the people what they came for.
Make way for your new festive favorites like Deadpool and Wolverine.
Bingo.
A new Star Wars adventure in Skeleton Crew. And the raunchy new original series Rivals.
Oh, you're a very bad influence.
Christmas really is better with Disney Plus.
This is what I'm talking about.
All these and more streaming this Christmas. 18 plus subscription required. T's and C's apply.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. You're very welcome along to the 9 till Noon Show for this Wednesday, the 3rd, it's the 27th of November. It's 3 minutes past 9, just about to turn 4 minutes past 9. Thanks very much for choosing us again this morning. Hopefully we're going to keep you informed and entertained over the next 3 hours. In the first hour, we're going to catch up on some of the big topics of the day, of course, information we need to get out there. And then from 10 to 12, it's our final debate as 20 candidates seek 5 seats in the election on Friday. 62% of us decided to vote last time out 4 years ago, 5 years ago. 4 years ago, in fact, and I just wonder, will it be greater? It's such a privilege to be able to vote, and I hope people exercise that right, because the votes out there that aren't going to be cast, I sort of opined a little bit yesterday on social media, they're the ones that actually could swing it. If you were of the kind that you thought, oh, well, I want that person in, or I don't want that person in, or whichever way it might be, you have to go out and vote to make that difference. A lot of people out there, and maybe many of you will today, haven't received your polling cards. And I think there's quite a bit of confusion out there in relation to that. But just to be very, very clear, you don't need your polling card to vote. You are registered, most likely you are registered to vote. You just go to your polling centre and bring ID with you, and you'll be able to cast your vote then. So you don't need your polling card to vote. I've been inundated, quite literally inundated, by people who have yet to receive their polling card. I don't know what the delay is or what the process is. Some have them, some don't. But I know a lot of people are thinking, because they've said it to me, how can I vote? I don't have a polling card. If you're registered to vote, and the likelihood is that you are, you just need your ID and you go to your local polling centre and you'll be able to cast your vote. It'd be really interesting this time, really interesting to see this time if more than 6 out of 10 people are motivated to even go out and vote. I mean, there's big numbers of people there that could decide who tops the poll. If that 38% decided, right, we're going to vote go vote for this person, and it could be anybody, they literally could have that person topping the poll. That's the influence that 38% have that may not exercise it, and it's up to each individual. I'm not preaching, I'm just saying. Did you watch the debate last night on RT? Apparently the sense is that this could be a game changer. I'm not sure it was. I don't watch many of those national debates, and I was really perplexed at the format of it. 2 people asking the questions. Not only was interaction between the candidates not encouraged, it was actually completely and utterly discouraged. And some of the questions, the way they're phrased, and I've been accused of being anti or pro this in the past. I've been accused of being anti and pro everything, so that's all right, right? So you're either doing it right or doing it wrong right across the board. But some of the way the phrase, the questions were structured, and I'm going to say particularly towards Mary Lou McDonald, I thought were accusational or loaded or even, quite condescending. But what did you think? Who do you think performed well? I think in terms of who performed the best, the strongest, it probably would be Micheál Martin, would it? With Mary Lou McDonald, a close second. Simon Harris seemed to struggle for the first half of it to get his point across, seemed to mumble quite a bit. But I don't know, maybe you see it the other way. Maybe you see Simon Harris, who came on strong in the end. Maybe he won the debate, or maybe it was Mary Lou McDonald. I don't know, whatever you think. Let us know, 08660 25,000. But the RT fixation on, with everything that's going on in the country, the fixation RTE has on this proposal within Sinn Féin's manifesto about an independent review of how they cover international affairs, such as the situation in Gaza, has it took up so much of that debate last night. And then this morning, too, there was a leaders' sort of interview, and the topic that was spoken about most, with everything that's going on in this country, the topic that was spoken about most was Sinn Féin's proposal for an independent review of RT's coverage of international affairs. That's misusing your platform. I mean, I could go in there after 10 o'clock today and I could start asking questions about Highland Radio, but you wouldn't, would you? Because that's not what's important to the people out there. I just thought it really, really strange. That's as a viewer, to be honest. I just was watching and I was like, why are they so obsessed with this scrutiny of RTE? Everyone should be scrutinised if there is a reason to be scrutinised. Okay, so the general election candidates on our show today: Claudia Kennedy of Fianna Fáil's in studio, Thomas Pringle, an independent, in studio as well. Nuala Carr of the Greens will be around the table, as will Noel Jordan of Sinn Féin. Kim McMenamin of the Irish People's Party National Alliance is in studio, as is Eamon McGee, the Irish Freedom Party. We're going to be discussing health, immigration, other issues as well. We've been overwhelmed by the level of contact that we've had, to the point whereby we have actually been overwhelmed emotionally, because we've received thousands of messages, right? But also overwhelmed in terms of translating that great effort of you out there listening into the debates. So we've tried to cover the issues and the points of view in those, but there's so many. The entire 3 hours could have been spent reading messages. So they're all read, they've all been gone through, and we really do appreciate it. And it is formulating what we're talking about and how we're talking about it as well. So it is greatly, greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for that. Okay. Right, one person whose name could have been on the ticket but isn't is Councillor Donald Mandy Kelly of Fianna Fáil. Donald, sorry for holding you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning to yourself. Good morning to all your listeners there.
Okay, any regrets? Would you like to have been around the table one of these days?
Greg, we'll see what the future holds.
Okay.
We'll leave it to the candidates that's based on it, and I wish each and every one of them the very best.
We'll leave it at that. Okay, an update on the water situation for those living in the Bonomy, Newmills, Tullygay, Rohan and surrounding areas. We've talked about this in the past. We've talked to concerned residents. Has there been any progress made in relation to this, Donald?
Yeah, that's correct, Greg. Listen, this is an ongoing issue, as you're well aware of, and your listeners are well aware of as well. And we're seeing again there last week where these residents were out of water for up to 5 days, particularly in elevated areas. But yeah, listen, Greg, I'm glad to get confirmation yesterday from Ashcairn that they're now in the process of installing a new pump where there is already a pumping station in Rockhill. So that Ashcairn's very confident now that this pump will increase pressure to the elevated areas once it's installed, and they're confident that this pump will be installed now on this side of Christmas. So listen, it's great news. It's very welcome news, and I suppose it is a medium-term solution, Greg. But it's something that I had pushed for from day one, was to experiment this, put in a pump, because it was my opinion that it would work, and I'm glad that Ashcairn's come back now to tell me that they're confident now from all the analysis they've carried out, that the salt pointing to the pump will keep the pressure up in these areas. But as I say, this is I suppose a mid-term solution, Greg, but a permanent solution here is to upgrade the infrastructure, and we need a bigger reservoir and RAN also. But listen, Ashcairn have assured me that they are looking at all options, and this is still on the table going forward.
They also located a leak in the Old Town area, and are either have or are going to repair that. Do they believe that will also help in increasing pressure to the areas that we've mentioned, or is that a separate issue?
No, that will increase pressure to the areas as well, Greg, and you're correct. There was a major bust there in the Old Town area. That has been repaired yesterday and water restored again. Now, as much as the pump will restore pressure and that they're confident it will to these areas, I suppose it won't alleviate any bust going forward, because, as I said, Greg, the long-term solution is that the pipes that's on the ground here are outdated and need to be replaced. So that's something I'll be pushing for. And, I've asked Ashcairn as well to lobby central government for funding to implement this as quickly and as soon as possible going forward, because we have the developments there as well, Greg, coming in Ballymacool and the Old Town, and I welcome them developments, but it's important before there's any developments in them areas that we have the infrastructure in place, an adequate water supply and our sewage. So that's something I'm eager to have in place, because the last thing I want to see is development starting in them areas and building on top of a problem that's already there. We have to solve the problems in these areas first before we start development. And listen, thankfully, there's a bit of progress now. Ashcairn is fully aware of this, and I must commend as well Donegal County Council and our housing authority and executives there as well that are pushing very hard in this as well, because they understand where I'm coming from. They understand what the residents is going through, and none of us want to see this. We want the positive and the best outcome going forward.
I don't want to be a prophet of doom, but why change the habit of a lifetime? Is there any concern that the increased water pressure between the pump and the likes of Bonamy, for an example, that it might put pressure on that network, as I say, between the new pump and the higher residents, potentially triggering leaks? Or can we be confident that that old network is capable of taking this higher pressure?
Yeah, well, I suppose, Greg, I have to take my confidence from what Ashcairn's telling me, and what they're telling me is they are confident. Now, they have expressed it very clear that it won't, it won't improve the moisture leakages in the area, but it will improve water pressure. They are aware that the pipes are outdated and need replaced, but they are looking down the line as well. Greg, I've made aware of taking another feed line in there as well. Maybe down the line, hopefully from the lilies or coming in from any shown line there as well. And that'll increase more pressure on there as well and take a more adequate water supply. But, I'm glad that these things are being looked into, because this has gone on far too long, Greg.
Okay.
I mean, it's not only here and New Mills, Tullygay, Ruhan and surrounding areas, Bomney, but all over the county as well. What I recently looked into as well there is that there's a 37% leakage in infrastructure in Donegal. And that for me in itself speaks volumes that we need to be funded here, and funded very strongly from central government to get on top of this throughout the entire county going forward.
Yeah, and 1 million houses could be promised for in and around Letterkenny, but if there's not a proper sewage and water infrastructure that can accommodate that growth, then those houses can't be delivered. So infrastructure critical. Thank you very much indeed. That's Councillor Donald Mandy Kelly there. And I know our loyal listeners in the Bonamy, New Mills, Tullygay, Rohan and surrounding areas will keep us up to date in terms of progress. That new pump supposedly to be installed before Christmas. I'll watch on with interest to get updates from you guys out there as we've spoken in the past. Right. Hello, says a listener. Hello. Can I ask, what do you do if you haven't received your voting card in the post? Thanks, Greg. Well, I referenced this. You should. It's crazy that we're not receiving these. But you can go, you will be registered to vote. You can check the registry if you have any doubt whatsoever. Just check the register.ie if you have access to the internet. You'll see that you are registered to vote. Then just take any form of ID to your local voting centre, the one to which you're associated with, and you can vote without a polling card. You can vote without a polling card. I'm quite troubled that it's Wednesday and there are people today without polling cards. That's a problem. Hi, Greg. If you use a pen on a ballot paper, will it be classified as spoilt? No, it won't. You can use your pen. I think this comes back from something that was said years ago. I'm not sure. It comes up from time to time that, they want you to use a pencil so they can rub it out and remark it and fix the elections and stuff. And it was sort of put at that point that you can't use a pen. Of course you can use a pen. If you are voting down, you don't have to vote 1 to 20, by the way. You can do if you wish. You can vote for one person or you can vote for 5. The critical thing is to clearly write 1. That's the number 1 person you're voting for. Number 2, your second preferred candidate. Number 3, your third, 4th and 5th. You can go all the way down to 20. You can stop at 1. You can stop at 3. You can stop at 6 and so on and so forth. Just make sure that you keep it as best as you can within the box, and that a 1 doesn't look like a 7. Because, those types of things. So what ends up happening then is that they start scrutinising them and they say, well, there's 2 7s there. And they go, no, that's a 1. And it can lead to your vote being disputed or not counted. So use numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to 20 if you wish. But number 1's who you want to see elected first. Number 2, a person that is your second favourite, 3, and so on. You can use a pencil. You can use a pen. There is no issue there in that regard. Let me see. It's very important to emphasise the fact that a polling card is not needed, says a listener. Many people may not attend polling stations if they didn't receive a polling card, and that would be unfortunate. Another, the polling cards are with An Post. It's their problem, no manpower. Okay, I'm getting letters delivered, but not some people are getting letters delivered, but the polling card's not in there. But just to reiterate, if you've any doubts, maybe you're shy about turning up to vote if you haven't got your polling card, because what if I'm not on the register? Check the register.ie. You can find out immediately that you are registered. You just take your driving license or your passport or whatever you want to do, and you can vote. You do not need your polling card to vote. If there's any other concerns or questions in relation to that, we'll try and get answers for you, because we want to make sure that we all exercise our right to vote as best as possible, and that those who don't vote are doing so because they don't want to, right? Not because they feel they can't or they don't have the polling card, if that makes sense. I can't emphasize enough. There's 38% of people didn't vote last time out. That's enough to elect a candidate easily. Anyone that you wanted, if you decided to. Right, okay, we'll be back with more. In fact, Peter will be joining us after this short break.
Your one-stop shop this Christmas. Gift vouchers for the Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa are available online at silvertassiehotel.com or from hotel reception. The Silver Tassie, proud sponsors of today's show.
We're turning Black Friday red in the Virgin Media Playhouse. New customers get 1 gig super-fast reliable broadband for just €45 a month for 12 months with no activation fee. Add TV for €15 a month and a 43-inch 4K smart TV is yours, absolutely free. Start your play with Red Friday's 1 gig broadband and TV for €60 a month. Switch in store or at virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media. It's playtime.
Subject to location and availability. T's and C's apply. New customers only. 12-month contract. TCL Smart TV for new customers taking 1 gig broadband plus TV. €114 thereafter. Ends December 2nd, 2024.
Introducing Flow for Men, my new fragrance collection of products created to keep you feeling fresh and looking sharp. The ideal gift for the man in your life. Find Flow in pharmacies nationwide or online at flowbybo.com. Start every day with confidence.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
It's here, the Black Friday sale at Hegarty's Home Interiors Buncrana. Get 20% off all kitchen, giftware and Christmas items, plus amazing discounts on selected furniture lines. These deals are available in-store and online. But hurry, they won't last long. Sale ends Friday, November 29th. Visit Hegarty's Home Interiors today for unbeatable Black Friday bargains. Hegarty's Home Interiors, where style meets savings.
Experience the magic of Christmas with the Santa Express at Oakfield Park. Take a festive train journey through the frosty forest with dazzling lights to meet Santa himself. Marvel at Ireland's tallest Christmas tree and join the crafty elves for fun and games. The last tickets are available to book now at oakfieldpark.com. Starts Friday the 29th of November.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
It's 9:21. Peter, sorry for holding you. Good morning to you.
Yeah, grand. Yeah, you're okay.
You've experience of water repairs, water bursts. You've been on both ends, fixing and receiving the problems.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
What's your observations?
Well, like when we were doing it in Northern Ireland for NA Water, like, and it was privatised, like, so it was a subcontractor, but we had a 6-hour response. So as soon as the burst comes out, you were doing it as well, probably during the day sometimes. So say if a job come in and you were at it and it wasn't important, well, like, it was a 6-hour response. Bursts were priority, like, and there was 3 gangs, say like a 1, 2, 3. You had 3 gangs on. Say if one was tied up, well, number 2 could have went to it, but there was no, like, bursts were priority. Like, we were called there at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. That was just priority, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was 365 days a year?
Yes, every yeah. You were 3 weekends on, 3 weekends off. So, you know, that's the way it worked. Come round to your time, you were number 1. Next guy was number 2. Next guy was number 3. And like we had a burst ourselves outside our house in Donegal. I live in Donegal, like, and the burst was off. I wasn't there, and says it was a Sunday. The wife says, he says, the water's off. He says, we'll fix that probably tomorrow. This was Monday. She says, the husband, he would go out there. And he says, no, he wouldn't get them boys out today. That's basically what you're up against, like, you know. So, like, it should be something like that. It's just an idea to say, you know, it works there. You know, within 6 hours, thinking sometimes you could have had fixed within a couple of hours, but you have a 6-hour response to get to that priority. And if number 1's tied up, number 2's called out of the house to go and fix the next one. That's the way it works, like. And it's a good system.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Listen, thanks for the insight, Peter. I don't think that's how it works in a republic, but we'll check it out. Thank you very much indeed. I do appreciate it. A couple of things I want to mention, and I'm very excited to be going to the Purple Tie Gala Ball. It's at Jackson's Hotel Conference and Leisure. It's a beautiful venue, but it's the Blue Stack Foundation annual fully inclusive Purple Tie Gala Ball. It starts at 6 p.m. on Saturday the 14th of December. Master of Ceremonies is the one and only Mr. Noel Cunningham. There's a drinks reception, dinner, live band, disco and raffle, and there are still some tickets available. As I say, in the past I really wanted to get to this, but things contrived that I couldn't, but I'm delighted that we got tickets and we're going along, and hopefully you will too. Tickets are €60 for a brilliant night out. It's €35 for people with additional needs, 16 plus. So that's the Blue Stack Foundation Donegal's annual fully inclusive Purple Tie Gala Ball. It's in Jackson's Hotel Conference and Leisure in Ballybuffet on the 14th of December. If you want to get a ticket and go along to that, and why wouldn't you, and support the Blue Stack Foundation, you can go online to bluestackfoundation.com or call 074 974 0828. Contact us if you want those details. It's going to be a cracking night. Really looking forward to it. Now, also, it's become part of our December as well, and that is the Michael and Mary Worski House Christmas display. The switching on of their Christmas lights display takes place on Saturday, the 30th of November. Santa's going to be there, of course. Ollie's also going to be there. It's at 7:30 p.m. So this is Saturday, the 30th of November. Carol singing from 7 p.m. So really, if you're going, well, when will the Christmas start? Well, don't wait for the toy show halfway through December. Why not get along to Orski's? It's Carol singing from 7 p.m. All are welcome, and all proceeds, you make a donation if you wish, all proceeds are in aid of Cancer Care West. So that's the Worski Christmas lights at Kerrykeele going on Saturday, the 30th of November at 7:30 p.m. Some of your comments here. Beware, voting cards could be mixed in with candidates' literature that you've thrown in the bin or the fire. I nearly done this the other day. Yeah, indeed. Micheál Martin stated last night that no member of his party ever carried a Garda murderer shoulder high when he was released from prison. I'm sorry that the presenter didn't ask Mary Lou what her party's view was on hero worshipping of Garda murderers. It was a misused opportunity to demonstrate if there is a sinister mask disguising the real Sinn Féin. It's something the voters are entitled to know. Again, can't speak on behalf of any particular party, but there's no secret to that. One of the TDs, in fact, it was referenced, one of the TDs, Sinn Féin TDs, picked someone up from prison along those lines. So I thought it was referenced, to be honest with you, in the story, funeral and what have you. Greg, I still get a voting card to my parents' house that I haven't lived in for multiple years. This time my brother got 2 to our parents' house, despite living down the country for the past 25 years. So I could vote twice and he could vote 3 times. I don't think you could, but anyway, maybe you could. It is kind of our responsibility to update the register, though. So you can go to checktheregister.ie and change your address, and it means they don't know where to send the card, you see, unless you tell them, as far as I'm aware. There's a burst mains in Falcarra area. Staff are on the way to fix it. Councillor Michael McClafferty has just told us. Hi, Greg. I travelled from Milford yesterday at 4 p.m. and it was 5:10 before I got to the bottom of Lurgy Brack. It's just unbelievable. The continuous treatment of it is. I had to come in that way today, and it takes so long. And they're actually talking of narrowing the road outside, effectively outside Screwfix, between Screwfix and the hotel Mount Errigal to 2 lanes. It's 3 at the moment, isn't it? Down to 2 lanes. Is that going to make it even worse? Because there's also 2 sets of traffic lights going in there. Maybe it will improve things. We shall wait and see. The continuous treatment of Sinn Féin by RTE is exactly why an independent review is required. Look at the bottom line is Marilyn McDonald has said the review is to do with coverage of international affairs. Is it really? I mean, you know, there is certainly any observer would know. I'm proud. I come in here and I do a program, but I'm a radio listener, a news follower, and it's clear where it's clear sometimes where the coverage is going, right? But anyway, whatever the motivations are, we'll see. It is something that's bothering RTE, because as I say, this morning, half of the interview was taken up defending RTE's record, and much of the debate last night. The first thing with housing, homelessness, immigration, migration, everything that's going on in this country, and the first thing they started with last night was why you're having to go RTE, which I thought was, I don't know who came up with it, but anyway. Right, I'm going to be joined by a very special guest after these.
The 9 till Noon Show with Donegal's multi-award winning wedding venue, the Silver Tassie Hotel, planning dream weddings for generations. Email weddings@silvertassiehotel.ie for a wedding brochure or private show round.
Tony usually hates her morning commute, but something is different today. Tony has a grin brimming from ear to ear and an uncontrollable urge to tap her toes. You see, she just switched to 48 Mobile, so she now gets unlimited data for $12.99 a month and feels like the smuggest person on the bus. 48 Mobile. Good call. T's and C's apply. See 48.ie. $12.99 one-time activation fee. Unlimited data applies to ROI only. Subject to coverage.
Easy Living Furniture presents its massive Black Friday sale with discounts of up to 60% off. That's right, up to 60% off sofas, dining, bedroom mattresses and Christmas. Plus, with price match guarantee and buy now, pay later options, why shop anywhere else? Don't miss out. The sale ends on Sunday. Exclusive to Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link, Derry, Londonderry, or online at easylivingfurniture.co.uk.
The massive Black Friday sale is now on at Patterson's The Hall, Lifford. Massive discounts on kitchens, beds, sofas, dining sets and giftware. There's up to 50% off selected mattresses in our sleep centre. Hundreds of products in stock and ready for delivery or collection. Open Monday to Saturday 9 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. with hot lunches served daily in our coffee shop. Get yourself down to Patterson's massive Black Friday sale today.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and at Home Store and More, we've everything you'll need to make merry for sure. From twinkling lights and festive decor to cozy throws, we've got it and more. Choose from our extensive range of half-price Christmas tree lights to light up your home blue or bright or glowing warm white. And a Christmas tree, or maybe even 2, will make your home feel even more right. Enjoy Christmas. Visit us in store, shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Thinking about upgrading your car? Pre-order your brand new Kia now at iMotors. We're offering one lucky customer a chance to win €10,000 when they pre-order with iMotors. Avail of 0% finance and a free home charger on selected vehicles. Grab a €500 super value voucher and 7 years warranty. Visit iMotors today and upgrade your car.
iMotors. Fearless generation.
It's Social Work Awareness Week, and TUSLA is recruiting social workers for positions all across the country and offering 70 funded places on its Master of Social Work apprenticeship. Social workers are vital in supporting children and families in our communities. Whether you are a recent graduate or thinking of a career change, explore different TUSLA career opportunities at tusla.ie or email tuslarecruit@tusla.ie. Make a difference to children and families. Join TUSLA.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme, and I'm delighted to welcome onto it Olympic team manager Ireland, Theresa McDade. Good morning to you, Theresa. Thanks for taking the call this morning. How are you keeping?
Good morning, Greg, and good morning to everybody. I'm very well. I've just come back from a walk there now, and it was just a glorious morning, and the sun was out and the frosty air, so I'm ready for the day.
Way to make me feel lazy. Listen, congratulations, because I think it's a lovely honour that you're going to receive, and well deserved. It's a civic reception from Donegal County Council for your role in athletics locally and with Ireland. It's a mayor's reception stroke civil reception. How does it make you feel? It's lovely, isn't it? Are you the type that can enjoy it and say, bring it on?
No, I'm totally out of my comfort zone. For anybody that knows me, I don't like fuss. I just like to get on with what I do. I'm definitely a doer rather than everything else. But in fairness, I'm absolutely delighted and very and honoured about it. And actually, it's actually been quite lovely because, particularly in sport, we don't often reflect or get a chance to reflect or take that time. And this has actually made me reflect on even where I've come from and where I started, and how how I got to this point, and remembering and all the people that helped you along the way, and role models that you didn't even know were role models. So it's been fantastic from that point of view, as well, obviously, as I'm grateful of receiving such an honour.
Yeah, and you described yourself as a doer, and you'd have to be really, okay. So obviously, we've spoken to you through the high profile stuff, where your reputation is such that you're Olympic Team Ireland manager, you're in Tokyo, you're in Paris, and all that type of stuff. But I think where the doer stuff probably is born is it's in the, maybe the cold, frosty mornings, out working at grassroots, spotting that talent, nurturing it, bringing people through the stuff where there's just you and a few athletes standing about the place. There's no glitz, there's no glamour. It's just hard graft.
No, and I think there's often a perception there that international sport or international athletics is very glamorous. And when you're stuck at an airport for 7 or 8 hours and trying to manage people around you, it's often not very glamorous. And in a former lifetime, I worked in Letterkenny General, and I often talk about like a warm-up area and a track and that sort of kind of. So it's very much like A&E department on a Saturday night. There's blood, sweat, and tears, and maybe the odd row, and certainly an issue that has to be resolved. But for me, it's listen, bring it on. Absolutely, I'm in my element when I'm there.
What have been some of the highlights for you? I mean, I suppose you've got so much to draw on, but over your career to date, are the highlights obvious ones, or is there other stuff that, if you were writing your memoirs, would get a chapter that people might not expect?
Well, I suppose from a coaching point of view, before I came into team management, certainly there's a lot of highlights there in terms of, and particularly around, coaching. If you show interest in young people, it's amazing what will happen. And I suppose out of Letterkenny a number of years ago, we produced, 5 or 6 kids that went on to run and still continue to be involved, including the likes of Mark English. But it was, it's just, it always will be that sort of kind of, they all lived within a stone throw of one another. And yet in this one area, this amazing group of kids come out of it. So, certainly from a coaching point of view, that'll always be. And I think that, coaching and being a coach is something that I bring to team management and as my mainstay and that kind of athlete focus. But for this summer, and funny, I've reflected recently on, certainly been in the likes of the Bahamas and Rome and Paris and places like that. It's been fantastic. But Ciara McGeehan in Rome, and that sort of kind of, and I've known Ciara McGeehan since she was 15. And for anybody that knows Ciara, she's just an unbelievable personality, and just that moment actually, and I can just picture that moment as she came into the home straight and she was waiting for the gap to open, and she just had that wee smile to herself, and she thought, I have this, and everything else was amazing after that sort of thing. Like, so that's certainly one that jumps out of my mind. And again, I think I have to mention the likes of Fionnuala McCormick or Fionnuala Britton, again, somebody that I've known since she was a very young girl. To be at the Olympics for 5 times is just, we kind of accept it, but when you think about it, wow, that's
well,
just
once
amazing.
is pretty impressive, isn't it? You know what I mean? I think you're in a very small group of people that do these things once, let alone 2, 3, 4, and 5 times. It is astonishing, really, through the likes of yourself and others who, were there. In some cases, with the establishment of clubs, the battles for facilities and what have you, other competing sports such as GAA, rugby, whatever it might be, because we don't know how many Mark Englishes fell through the gaps, for example, because they didn't engage with the likes of yourself or others, right? That you recognized the talent, worked with them, brought them through, and they were able to go on and to achieve such great things. And it has to come down to the individuals as well, because it doesn't make sense that we can produce so many quality athletes from such a small pool of people. So, it proves, it has to prove how good the likes of yourself and the other brilliant names that we've had involved in athletics and still do, the effort to bring them through and give them the opportunities and give them the coaching and the motivation, and for them to maximize their potentials.
Yeah, and I think that's something. I think it's something that's just a new sort of thing. Like, and I suppose for me and my background, my parents would have been involved, and my father in particularly would have been very involved in the community and things like the athletic club. And we had a lot of people started with parents, and I suppose we talk now even within Athletics Ireland and bringing in a different skill base into a group and whatever. But community, and I think that's one of the loveliest things about being involved in a more rural community. As community is everything, and it's amazing what people can do when they pull it together, sort of thing. And again, I think for again, as a coach and as a team manager, that motivation is there. There's that you want to be. You want to be active, you want to be doing something that you feel that you can leave a legacy to, or that you can get involved in. And from that point of view, I would always encourage anybody. It starts at a very, I started off I never expected to be team manager. At one stage, I just got involved in athletics, and in the same too with parents. And I would always encourage parents and people to get involved. You don't have to be running the show in any sense, but getting involved, and that starts you off. And the great thing about all of that, it sucks you in, and it develops you in loads of different ways.
I have no doubt, as much as you inspire the athletes that you've worked with over the years, they inspire you to be a better version of yourself, because that's the type of environment that you in, aren't they? But sort of maybe outside of that, or in life, or maybe within that, who have been some of your greatest inspirations, or the people that you've looked up to that have driven you on to where you've gotten to now?
Well, again, I feel I mentioned Ciara McGeehan again, and I think if anybody's seen, I was chatting to Ciara on Wednesday at the Athletics Ireland Awards, and she is such an inspiration. And she had, for the second time, got in the shape of her life and got injured, and just that determination and that robustness and that resilience to come. And she's done a couple of media pieces, and I don't know if anybody has seen them, but if you haven't, go and find them, because she's just truly inspirational about how she overcome such a disappointment, and then to come and sort of say, well, I'm going to give it again. I'm going to give it another go. I'm going to get ready for LA. And I just think that's, you can't not be inspired by that. And I suppose that disappointment, and it's what, you're involved with athletes in that and helping them overcome those disappointments at those crucial times. But they go back to the cold light of, day, and realize that they have to look at where they're at. But for me, I often, certainly in my own club in Letterkenny, have always been very, very supportive. I remember going off to a cross country in Castlefin as a 12-year-old, and it wasn't exactly a very enjoyable experience, I remember. But I do remember the fun we had and the crack we had on the bus going there and coming back, sort of thing. And I often refer to there's a lady by the name of Sue McCormick. I lived in Glencar, and we had a lot of girls around Glencar that were in athletics, and we affectionately called ourselves the Glencar Girls and so on. But the likes of Sue, who I was delighted the club honoured last year with an award, and Sue, God rest her, was just such a, she was a woman ahead of her time, and she would have gathered us all up and got us all involved. And as I'm older now myself, I look back and think, well, my God, there was a role model for me. And again, for me in my career as athletics, I've often been the only woman, and I've often been that, but yet, there was a role model for me that, I'll look back on fondly now.
Oh, it's fantastic. I'd love a longer conversation with you down the line, Theresa, but just wanted to acknowledge this wonderful honour from your own county as well. It is a civic reception, mayor's reception in honour of Theresa McDade. It's in the Letterkenny Public Services Centre at 7 p.m. on Thursday, and no better woman than yourself to receive it. Thanks, Theresa. It's been lovely having you on. Take care of yourself. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Right, okay, Theresa McDade there. Now, just to let you know, our panel is assembling. Our final debate as we head towards the election on Friday takes place just after 10 o'clock. We have Kim McMenamin, the Irish People's Party, Eamon McGee of the Irish Freedom Party, Noel Jordan of Sinn Féin, Nuala Carr of the Greens, Thomas Pringle is an independent, Claudia Kennedy of Fianna Fáil. All will be in studio with us discussing some of the big topics that you might expect, so stay tuned for that. On business matters this week, as we won't be able to speak to Chris later, Chris Ashmore speaking with the owner of Tinney's Toys, Liam Tinney, and also the founder of organic wool pillow company Woolo, Michael Burke. So that's available for a pod for you today, and it's also on after the 6 o'clock news on Sunday, unless things run into Sunday down at the Aura, will they? Don't think so. I think it's going to take a while to get that last seat filled, but hopefully we'll be out of there by Sunday at 6. Greg, we changed our address 19 years ago. My husband comes here. Mine still goes to the old address. We haven't voted since. It's a problem, isn't it? It's a shame. Ex-husband's voting card still comes to my house. Who to report this to? Stop it. I'm not quite sure. Is it up to the individual themselves to get it sent somewhere else? Does the politicians think that everyone lives in the town? I hope they know there is people living in the countryside too. I haven't seen one politician in my area. Greg, to fix the water bursts in Donegal, it takes 6 or 7 men to fix the burst, 1 to drive the digger and 5 to watch the other 2 working. This is the sad reality of how they work out here. I think that's cruel. I don't subscribe to that, but listen, that's that caller's point of view. Someone dropped a bank card at Watson's Higher End Letterkenny yesterday. If you were in yesterday and you're missing your card, they have it for you before you cancel everything. The card's in Watson's, right? So if you were in Watson's, you've lost your bank card, or if you're in Watson's, check you've got your bank card. They have it there for you, by the way, just in case you may start cancelling. Right, okay, back with more after these.
The 9 till noon show with Teddy's Bar at the Silver Tassie Hotel. The ideal spot to catch up for cosy Christmas drinks. Follow Teddy's Bar, the Silver Tassie Hotel on Facebook and Instagram.
Don't miss your chance to take a closer look at Cooper's latest models in Ireland. Introducing the Cooper Terramar, our sporty SUV available in PHEV, petrol and mild hybrid. And the all-new Cooper Tavascan, our first 100% electric SUV coupe. Join us for an exclusive preview event from now to the 28th of November to see these stunning vehicles up close. DMG Cooper, Clare Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 07497 21396 or log on to dmgmotors.ie for more details.
Join John Breslin and the Highland Radio Outside Broadcast team this Thursday from 12 noon till 2:30 p.m. for a live broadcast from our McCullough Jewelers Main Street, Letterkenny. With all the top brands, it's the perfect place to find that special gift this Christmas.
Make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores with festive savings on refreshing soft drink 18-can packs like Coca-Cola, Pepsi and 7-Up, just €10 each. And choose from a selection of indulgent treats like Jacob's Biscuit Tins or Ferrero Collection, also just €10 each. Plus, you can save again at the till with a 10.50 grocery voucher. However you do your Christmas shop, make Christmas for everyone with Dunnes Stores. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more. Prices subject to deposit return scheme fees.
Sheridan Security now introducing zero-wire smart alarm systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
Get ready for a night of great music at the Highland Radio Christmas Concert on Monday the 9th of December at the Mount Errigal Hotel in Letterkenny. Join us with an incredible lineup of Mike Denver and his band, John McNichol, Jim Devine, Donna Taggart, Owen Mack and myself, David James. Get your tickets now at the outlet on highlandradio.com or call 074 91 25000.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenney's Bally Buffet. Visit us in store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
Okie doke, a cold and frosty start with areas of fog in some areas. Sunny spells will develop during the day, but fog may be stubborn to clear in some parts. Highs of just 3 to 7 degrees. A lot of black ice out there, particularly on untreated roads. So it's not going to clear just like that. So be careful, please, if you're out and about. Katrina Morrissey is Deputy Editor of the Irish Farmers Journal and joins us on the programme now. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time, Katrina.
Good morning, Greg.
Now, major retailers across Britain and Ireland, they're stopped selling alcohol drinks either owned by or associated with Irish MMA star Conor McGregor. The decision by Tesco, Musgrave, Spar, Eurospa, Mace, Londis and XL stores came after a woman who said McGregor raped her won a civil claim for damages against him. Nikita Hand, who accused the sportsman of raping her in a Dublin hotel in December 2018, won her claim against him for damages in a case at the High Court in Dublin. He says he's going to appeal that. Do we see this very often, that we have such a strong reaction from retailers to take a product off the shelves like this, Katrina?
I don't see it. I don't think we see it very often, Greg. And I suppose the fact that this has been not only a national story but an international story. And I think what's really key, I suppose, in this case is an appeal by the Rape Crisis Network Ireland on Sunday, who said that anybody who is, retailers who were selling products associated with Conor McGregor should really think about whether they want to be aligned with him. And I think that really put it up to the retailers, put it up to the suppliers, and made the bosses of those companies and the buyers think, had the Rape Crisis Network not said that, I wonder would they have voluntarily gone and taken them off the shelves? I suspect that would have been far less likely. But the fact that it was put up to them to say, put your colours to the mast and say whether you endorse this man or not. And they have responded in spades. As you say, you listed out there the Barry Group, the Musgraves, Tesco, BWG, and all of the retail brands that are associated with those, SuperValu, Centra, Cost Cutter, Spar. It really, it's across the retail network. And it has crossed the channel, as you say, over to Tesco in UK as well. So I don't think we've seen it before. It is, I suppose, a risk of a company aligning with a celebrity, and a celebrity who, in Conor McGregor's case, extremely high profile. So if he does something negative, and which he obviously did, it is extremely high profile for the brands that he is associated with.
Yeah. Now, I've never liked Conor McGregor, to be honest with you. He's assaulted an older gentleman in a pub. He's done other stuff. I wouldn't ever dream of defending him. I just really don't like him. I'm not a big fan of the sport involved in either. But that being said, do companies have to be careful the precedent they're setting here now? Because there will be another controversy. It may not be surrounding Conor McGregor. It may be someone associated with the brand or once removed from a brand. And now they've taken this type of an action, all of a sudden this is the bar for them to be held against. And whilst they had to do something, I wonder, do you think there was any knee-jerk element to this? Or given the severity of the accusations against him, their hands were tied?
Look, you're asking a woman, would anybody, do I believe that they made the right action? I absolutely believe that they took the right action. I think that for someone who lives on reputation and income based on reputation, social media presence and persona, and someone who's all about the image, but makes money from the image, the way to actually have an effect on a person like that is in their pocket, and that is what's going to happen now. But you raise an interesting point, in that a celebrity or an endorser of any description who is one step removed. And in fact, Conor McGregor is one step removed from some of these brands, because his proper number 12 whiskey, he actually sold out his majority stake of that in 2021. So that brand is damaged, even though it is no longer owned by him, but it is very much associated with him, and he still markets and promotes it, and it trades on his image. But you raise the interesting point, at what point do you, I suppose,
well, to that point, Katrina,
line?
what I was thinking of, and this is no disrespect to victims or what have you, does this mean, say, for instance, if these same shops are called to remove certain products from certain parts of Israel and they leave them on their shelves, that in a way that's them sort of, this is what I meant by the bar, that they're in some way saying, well, no, that's all right, but what Conor McGregor did was horrendous. It just, I think going forward, it leaves them in a very sticky wicket. Not questioning for a second whether they should or shouldn't have done it, right? It just leaves them in a very sticky wicket. And I was just thinking of the mass appeals that have been going on for years for certain Israeli products to be boycotted, for an example.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a really fair point. Is it a double standard to say that, we will pull everything off the shelves for one assault on one woman, and we see women and children being killed daily in Gaza, and for them to not take action over that? I think it's a really fair point. It's not for me to defend the retailers' decisions either, and I think they will make their decisions on a case by case basis. But that's a solid argument for me as well. Why pick this one? Is it I don't think it's a spur of the moment decision. I don't think they would make a decision to pull all products related across that many stores in that many locations. That isn't done on a whim.
It isn't done on a whim, but I imagine in terms of their gross sales, this is actually really quite a cheap option for them to do the right thing versus maybe some of the products I would have alluded to. And that's also going to be factored in, isn't it? I mean, if this were 3% of their revenue, the sales of these products associated with McGregor, the cynic in me wonders, would the decision have been taken so quickly? But anyway, listen, I think most people believe that they did the right thing, Katrina. And if they don't believe they did the right thing, I think people maybe have to look a little bit inwards on this issue.
Yeah, and he has said that he will appeal it.
Oops, unfortunately, I've lost Katrina. Caroline, you might make contact with Katrina and apologise to me. I just shut the wrong thing down and kicked her out of the room just as she was about to make her final point. My apologies. Just a reminder for you that technically we have to end this stream that you're watching, if you're watching at home or wherever you are, and restart the stream because we move into a different studio for our roundtable debate, our last third of three debates. And we've got an interesting panel again. Claudia Kennedy of Fianna Fáil is with us. Nuala Carr of the Greens is going to be seated around the table, as will Thomas Pringle, who is an independent, Kim McMenamin of the Irish People's Party National Alliance, Eamon McGee of the Irish Freedom Party, and I think I didn't mention Noel Jordan of Sinn Féin. He's also going to be with us, right? So that's your panel. We want for you to continue to keep us so busy on the phone lines. We've received thousands of messages over the last couple of days, either via text, WhatsApp, phone calls, or on our socials. It's been remarkable, the level of interest in this. And again, I just hope it transfers into votes on Friday. What I will say is please keep them coming into us. Every message is read. We try and formulate questions that encompasses maybe 30 messages at a time. Such is the scale of contact. But it's so important to us that you keep contacting us. Right, okay, I have time actually for a couple of comments here. My daughter went to Australia 14 years ago. I've tried every year to get her off the electoral list. Yippee, finally succeeded this year. She would have been counted with the 40% of non-voters, by the way. She would be fined for not voting in Australia. Really interesting, actually, really, really interesting. I have in the past considered, people that don't vote because they don't get a voting card, but you've just put it straight right into my face there. How many of that 38% that didn't vote in 2020 didn't do so because they didn't think they had a vote? Their vote was going to the wrong place. They were double votes. Really interesting. Also on the surveys, which I find interesting, is the demographic. I think they ring people on... I think they ring people on landlines and on mobile phones, and you do wonder who's inclined to answer the phones, don't you? Is it generational? I wonder, do these polls sort of reflect a certain demographic, and that's why they're not as accurate as maybe they have been in the past? I don't